In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. There was no shape or form in all of the universe. The best way that we can depict such is by water. It was then that God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. It was also written that the God then separated the heavens from the earth and separated the waters by the lands, which he called earth. And being that we had all of the elements of the earth within our body, we can then call ourselves earth. Greetings and welcome to another step in our journey. This is Trying Eli's The Build. I'm happy to announce that we are, according to our purpose, continuing to bring forth positive energy to create elevation towards our people and even other peoples. If he is indeed ready, I will wait upon the cue so that I can bring Eli in as we do our opening announcements before we begin our discussion.
Blessings. I got the mic on. Blessings, everybody. I hope and pray that everybody is doing well, of course. And my introduction is going to be a little short, but it's more to the point. The words we are expressing freely are not meant to offend anyone. Our words are not meant to be in any competition with anyone else's wisdom. Your wisdom and understanding is yours alone. We are choosing to remain consecrated while being in the furnace of affliction, the burning bush, and of course, conquering ignorance is essential. Nobody is born wise, and a person has to make serious efforts to develop the qualities needed to be able to speak and achieve mayat without falling into the twin traps of vanity and greed. An Egyptian sage portrays himself with a vigilant heart and a plain tongue, capable of satisfying God because his or her existence rests on knowledge and not on belief. And of course, as in Dr. Ricchetti's book, I think I will reiterate the concept of what is spirituality. Spirituality is above religion, above social, above science, above social creeds, holy books. Spirituality is about the Amen, the infinite unknown, and the Atum, the infinite known. Spirituality is about the love and understanding of the entire universe, and understanding that life is more than just what is here on earth, but includes all the multiverses and the infinite dimensions thereof. All life is animate, all life is intelligent. We exist because everything else exists. Everything is one. Therefore, spirituality is about the love and respect for all life. Spirituality is about the understanding oneself so that one can maintain harmony with nature and self. The universe itself is the supreme life form. All life is animate. Everything is alive. All life is intelligent. Intelligence is relative. There was no words in a language meta nature for spirituality because all aspects of life were spiritual. A life centered life is a way of living that is conscious thought and practice focused on the healthy growth and development of all living things. All existence is one unified whole. There is unity among all things. All life sustains life. Everything that exists is sustenance for something else. All life is animate, alive. There is no such things as inanimate. All existence is light. Light is what is called energy. All life is energy. This is what is meant by spirit. What we call spirit occurs in the forms of both matter and energy. Matter and energy are the same. They continuously change from one to the other. Energy can become condensed. While in this condensed form, we call it matter. And in its uncondensed form, we call it energy. All life is sacred. All life is intelligent.
I'd like to add one brick to what has been built in the foundation that Eli has provided regarding intelligence. According to certain scientific research, I have found that even rocks are intelligent. They can be taught mathematical equations and will, just as we regurgitate what we consider is our knowledge, do the exact same when they are connected electronically to certain devices that ask the question, what is X? Really amazing documents that I have upon that, and I will share those as well. But it brings forth what our topic of discussion is today: cleanliness and the connection of cleanliness with godliness, which is within itself a connection to all things. There are many different approaches towards cleanliness in many different practices throughout different cultures and faith-based religion. Some would say that before entering a state of prayer, you are to place saline and breathe through each nostril to clear out the nose, gargle to clear out the mouth, washing of the face to clear out from any blemish or dirt, and even adorn perfectly clean clothing before bringing your likeness and image into a holy place. Some define that cleanliness as more internal than external, being free or absolved from sin, from mistake or fault, at least relatively speaking, before entering a tabernacle. Some will actually say that you are never clean enough and therefore are forever under the devotion of a divine as being less than godly. And here the build, we go based upon the evidence of things that can be considered ritualistic in regards to cleanliness. For we have always heard the adage cleanliness is next to godliness. However, there has been, according to the evidence, many instances where those who were relatively considered unclean seemed closer to God and the connections of the earth than anyone who, under the blemish of self-righteousness, had claimed themselves to be clean. I have many examples of this, but contrary to those examples, I'm going to actually start with my own experience, which is, though limited at best, worthy of this sacred space that we have brought to you today. Those who you consider more intelligent, that you consider have had a higher calling, those who are in places of high altitudes, monks, nuns, who are brought by their higher calling to pray constantly throughout the entirety of their lives. I see those as cleanly people. I've always seen beauty in that type of discipline. However, if I am to be absolutely honest, I must say that the closer that a person becomes to that idea of godliness in its extremity, takes them away from the connection of the rest of the people around them and is justified in terms like the 144,000 or the Sephardim, the set apart, in a place where we should all be considered together. What I am about to say might seem controversial, and I welcome it to be so. For if iron is to truly sharpen iron, we must question it upon the heat and strike it while it is hot, so that it can attain sharpness. The only advice in my life that I have ever considered worth practical application up until this age has come from dirty people. Let me define what that means. People who have come from destitute urban societies, who have been to institutions meant for their detriment, who have been victims of their environment and given the illusion of an option of being poor and righteous as a teacher and having riches and pleasures of sinners and them choosing B instead of A. If it were not for the alleged gangbangers, drug traffickers, sex traffickers, whoremongers, denizens of society, handing me advice from the other side of the veil of what not to do with my life, and them showing by example, I would not have striven for cleanliness. Instead, I surmise that, especially in my teenage years, with my limited experience of the world, I would have sought out and after those who had plenty, those who were in the illusion of abundance and their ways, and would consider that a righteousness and sought that out, only to be shown otherwise. The Bible has many different examples of these dirty people with which we've ascertained much knowledge from, specifically the disciples, who were combinations of taxmen, assassins, dictators, whoremongers, and the like, who have been shown in some way in their testimony a turning of a new leaf, ascertained when the intelligence is challenged. From experience, not just by the written word, but by calls to action in the relativity of what was right and what was wrong. I believe it was many mothers within our collective consciousness who has said, is there not men who are so godly good that they are earthly bad, that they are too holy to even reach us, that they are so mightier than thou and higher above us, that they cannot, with their short hands and arms, reach us down here. I'd like to add that I am not a such person. Though my garments are white, though my stole is clean, though my skin I wash in saline, though my mind through meditation beforehand is made as clean as possible, I know that I am one of those dirty people. I know, however, that that dirt is not of harm in the same means as those that I have found valuable knowledge, wisdom, and understanding from. But it is the dirt of my hands into the soil, that it is the scathing of my skin from helping other people who have, in one way or another, hurt my body and my mind in some way. And that even my own will, under the guise of it being free, can sometimes choose weakness. That human error can deem itself enough to show those that are willing to hear my words that not only is the path for them so they, if they choose it, that it is attainable even greater than I could purvey it for them. For was it not any deity that you choose that says that ye will do greater works than him? I do not compare myself to any savior. However, if we are in this image, we must see the relativity in such that we have the capacity. For if the rocks can cry out, if by science we can see that the rocks can solve algebraic equations, and that bones, as the book of Ezekiel speaks of, can move, so too can we, no matter how unclean. Is it the savory choice? Perhaps not, but it is proof that all people, that all kind, all species can indeed show good to the world, to the universe, to the multiverse. And that sometimes the scars that I have upon my body can show those what I have been through, and that be a hope that they can endure and go through it as well. For we must learn from our lessons, and we gain our wisdom and such. For there are no wins and losses in my mind anymore. There is wisdom and there are lessons. If nothing else is ascertained from what I have said today, know that it is the most organic thing to have some dirt upon us that we must strive to clean. in order to be seen as fellow man, as fellow kind, we should have endured something to show and prove that there is a such thing as endurance. It might be my naive belief, but I can definitely tell you that in my limited experience on this planet, in this existence, that those quote unquote dirty people and those quote unquote clean people both teach me lessons, both obtain a certain knowledge from each of those. That though I seek cleanliness, I do not mind for a fellow man to get my hands a little dirty to show and prove that we can clean ourselves again. I look forward to Eli's bricks upon this build more than anyone knows. Blessings.
Blessings. Galatians chapter 1, verse 10 through 12, the International Standard Version. I will start off at verse 10. Am I now trying to win the approval of people or of God? That's the question. Or am I trying to please people? If I were still trying to please people, I would not be the Messiah's servant. You have to ask the question, why did God create cleanliness and uncleanliness? When we look at the reality, when you were a teenager, in the days of foolishness, there is no problem for you to just get a soda, eat a burger, fries, pork chop, and your body is still young and it's easy to digest. But try to do that in your 60s, 70s, and 80s. Try to eat the same burger, the same hog mogs, and things of that nature when the body have been through the test of time. When you are younger, it is so easy to have the due diligence to maybe lose your keys or misplace your book bag. However, when you get a little older, 50, 60, and 70, you don't have no tolerance to misplace your keys because you want your keys where you place them at. There is a growth, and you can get to a point that you can be clean and you can feel other people's nastiness. And that can be overwhelming because it takes a lot of work to be a good, clean person mentally, spiritually, emotionally in this world. That is a lot of work compared to just doing whatever you want. So I remember I was hearing that I am so good, I am so godly, I am not good for the world. We are not meant to stay on this earth. This is not a reward. We are trying to earn our way to get back to God. Some of us can't put it on all. And they said you can't straddle the fence. God don't play. All of this work being done without excuses and breaks, don't have time for no laziness nor foolishness. For to the nasty folks, as we want to put this word, I would say to those who have accumulated things that's unwanted, let's listen to the quietness of their minds and their hearts 2, 3 in the morning. They have a lot of stuff going on that's so uncomfortable. They don't want to be in it. And these same people, in the eyes of the public, they look to be so strong and so, because they're too afraid to be honest about a lifestyle that is unclean and the rewards thereof. It beats you down. I take people to dialysis. I see people with diabetes. The people that's dealing with the doctors and medications, the mental. Even I posted a video of George Walker Bush. When he was president, he was mighty and strong. And the annals of time looked at him during his strength. And now he paints in the room. People can play and dabble in both toes. They can dip their toes in this and that if they want. But it's going to be a time to test your wisdom. And you will not have any time for fools. Because when you're around fools, come calamity. So here you go. You had a lady in her 80s that was taking care of her grandson. One night, her grandson was running from the police, ran into the lady's home, and the police ran in there shooting. See, when you are messy, messy follows you and destroys your work for the most part. So, yes, we can sit around the funk now. But when I go to senior citizen facilities, when I used to volunteer, there are rooms with 2 beds. And those people in their 70s and 80s, they don't like the funk, the poop, and the vomit of their neighbor. So there's a time that your body is conditioned for that. And there is a time that you just don't have it to deal with it, especially if you work towards not dealing with it. It is hard to fast at a young age. It is hard to pray at a young age. It is hard to be disciplined, save your money. These are penalties to a young mind and a young spirit compared to just spending your money and having fun, playing outside instead of doing your homework. You can't have your cake and eat it too on these particular principles. So those who studied and did what they're supposed to do, when they're older, they have the savings, they have the stability, the things that is needed when you get to a certain age, when your willpower is like, nah, today I prefer to just rest in the bed instead of getting up and going to work. They have invested in their nest because your mind and the new person will disagree with a lot of things. You'll get to a certain age and your body demands leisure all day and a good nap in between. Compared to when you're younger, oh, I got to conquer this. I got to go over this challenge. Look at all the most powerful people in the world in their older years. They're giggly and laughing and they don't deal with that stuff. Look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. Look at all the mighty people. I mean, even look at Mike Tyson. All that. he was laughing about his daughter. His daughter was like, Dad, did you want to do what with who? And he's laughing with that one comedian as an older man. So his daughter as an older man troubles him, and he's embarrassed of when he was saying that he will pump somebody. He's literally embarrassed, but that haunts him at in his older years. And now he says all he want to do is just be a good person. No one loves a fool in their older years. It is not tolerated even in their own consciousness. You get tired of being a fool and being around foolishness, especially those people in that particular society. They have all these words and all this great advice, however, don't have the strength to live it out themselves. So they get punished for just talking and not living it. And I remember that statement. I didn't get a chance to speak on that. Is that you're too good for the earth or whatever, something like that. And mainly it's talking about relationships. And I remember, as I love to debate my own consciousness, I said, how is it possible that a pimp can have all these relationships with women, human experiences, and a righteous person can't have a good righteous woman? It's like, how? It's like God is not that loving that a righteous person gotta go down in order to get a woman? All these billions and billions and billions of people? God is not that fair? Because I thought they said is someone for everybody. You know what I'm saying? What about that? Why I gotta go all this work and then I'm no good. But then heaven says I'm good. And that's why I read Galatians or whatever it was. Are we trying to please man or are we trying to please God? Are we going to man or are we going to God? So why God have these dual ships? And when we listen to these people in the quietness of the night, they are suffering compared to the ones that was more prudent, that kept their word. They don't have the same rewards with these unseen forces. Someone posted a picture of the lady who became a bodybuilder in her 50s. And she is in the Guinness Book of World Records of being the oldest woman who is a bodybuilder. At the time, I think she was 74, 75 years old. So they have her picture on the left, standing upright with her muscles, her stomach muscles, and her arms. And next to the picture, they have a woman who is the same age in a wheelchair in an old folks' home looking out the window. And it says, you can choose. And yes, the one in the wheelchair that's aging, that's going through it, she have a right to live that way. Also, the other one have a right to live the other way. And it's not fair for the one who going to exercise every morning in the 5 o'clock in the morning to say, no, I need to spend some time in a wheelchair sometime. That is insane. The worst thing God can do is tell you to do something and you fulfill it and don't receive the rewards. That is insane. All of us got new cars. We got more in-depth education. How is that possible that we accept that? But when it comes to being clean, no, I got to go down a little bit. But we don't like our phones acting up. We don't like the technology acting up. We don't like exercising, then our shoulders start hurting a little bit that prevent us from exercising. We wanted to keep going because we believe we're getting stronger and stronger, or we making money and our money accumulating. We don't say, oh man, I think I need to be broke sometimes. Yes, get your money and ride the train. You know what I'm saying? But go back to your big home that you work for in the cleanliness and the comfort. There is nothing wrong with walking into a clean home that feels good and smell good compared to living on the streets. I know what the streets like living under the bridge. No, no, we are too divine for that. And the ones who live that way, why do they let people come and help them? You'll see a random person come and cut the person's hair. Why he don't say, nah, I don't want to clean up? I remember it was a homeless dude with an amazing voice. They took that dude, he became a broadcaster again because of his voice. I mean, so the thing about it is we are addicted to the light, getting closer to the light and being clean. I have watched homeless people with maggots eating them alive and they sitting there. And when someone find them, they clean the maggots off and they feel better. I've seen dogs be hungry, starved to death, and so afraid, and they took them to a healing place. This is evidence of the realities of this existence at the moment. The dog did not want to go back to the sewers. It experienced that. I remember there was a guy named called MC Hammer. MC Hammer was one of the greatest entertainers of all time at that moment. I remember he helped all his friends, and when he needed help, they could not help him. MC Hammer did not want to go back to that community after experiencing the rewards from his hard work. I told you I am enthralled with the most expensive things on the earth. Why? Because I love the craftsmanship. When you deal with nice things and you look how long it took to make these things and the type of work and the generations and the years, you are living and experiencing someone else's hard work. I am not just putting someone else down or no, putting someone else down, nor am I into just because you may not have at the moment, you think God don't love you. I am not into that level of consciousness because even the most expensive home is not as technical as a piece of lint because a piece of lint came from existence itself. We exist because everything else exists. And Carl Sagan said that if you wanted to create a cake from scratch, you have to start off by creating your own universe. So it is good to wait because you do have a kind that will love you as well. You don't have to go down. And that's why we are suffering today because so many people, when they were nerds in school, they may not have the ability to be attractive to the girls. So they got a little ghetto. No, we got too much evidence in 2022 stating that that is a satanic soul. We have Tupac and all these entertainers who was highly intellectual. It would have been better from the evidence for them to be older compared to having generations of those following them because they spoke about selling drugs. And now the generation are rapping about being on drugs. So we have the evidence of straddling both worlds. And they said it is easy to lead the ignorant masses astray, but it's hard to lead them in the right direction. I never seen the right direction says lean one way or to the next. It says it's a straight path and it's not for the strong nor the swift, but the one who can endure to the end. And my final part is dealing with the monkeypox and the shot. These are level of uncleanliness. When you look at civilizations who had free sex, free this, all the civilizations were succumbed by diseases compared to those who were highly disciplined with their sex, with their mate, and they were clean people. For some reason, these diseases did not visit them. Even existence respect that. Viruses do not live alone. They need hosts to live on. And they change the intelligence of the cell. And then the person suffers at night. So what I'm going to say is, when you study the monkeypox and the STDs, that is undisciplined compared to those who suffered. They didn't have the free sex because it's tough. Remember, you got to choose some type of suffering. But when it comes to cleanness, I want to be so clean. I remember when Malcolm was assassinated. They said his intestines were so clean. His intestines was so clean. It was like a teenager because he fasted and stuff like that. So I want to personally, now I got to add in. Yes, when I was younger, I believed the same thing. But when you get older, this new consciousness, you don't have no tolerance. And that's why I use that analogy of eating heavy foods compared to when you're younger, compared to when you're older, or looking for your car keys when you're a teenager compared to in your 60s and 70s. Because it's a different person. And when you get older, you tell the grandchildren, here, take the candy, just get out of my face. Take that stuff over there. It's the reason why no matter what country you're from, everybody says take that stuff over there when you get to a certain age compared to when you're younger. And can you imagine in your hundreds? So what I'm going to say is, again, everyone have a right to do whatever they want. I spoke on the evidence. I started off with the scripture that you can look up. And that scripture again is Galatians chapter 1, verse 10 through 12, the International Standard Version. Am I now trying to win the approval of people or of God? Question mark. Or am I trying to please people? If I were still trying to please people, I would not be the Messiah's servant. And thank you for that time.
Very grateful for that added bricks onto the foundation. And I have to say that the motive for which I went about my words shared upon the build was meant to intensify Eli's. For the way this comes together,
Mike, are you there? Did you freeze up?
I believe I have. Here I
Yeah,
am.
you
Sorry
back
about
in
that.
it. Okay.
Okay.
You
As
said
we were,
you said intensified. Last word I heard.
yes, intensifies what Eli's was saying, because it's according to how long you have been on this journey. In the beginning, you can get a lot of those things in your on your repertoire, on your report card, and get away with them later when you renew those things, when you are pushing forward towards being more cleanly. there's an assigned time. Whether or not you realize how many years that time limit is, Eli has told me quite eloquently that one day I am going to meet my older self. And in so doing, I will not be ready if I continue upon the young ways. If I continue into the dirtiness without resolve for it, without a means of saying that I am going to start the journey towards becoming clean, that older self will not be pleased with me. And if we are making the choice before meeting God, before meeting that energy, that we are to meet our older self, who will not have the same energy if we do not give it the envelope with which to do so, be very displeased. So before even thinking about truly serving a master, you have to make sure that your envelope, that your skin suit that you wear has certain concordance with what God is asking from you. And one of the things that is very prevalent is asking for that cleanliness. Now, does that mean for someone, say, who wants to or has sought out or has felt to be called upon to become one of the cloth, a minister, a pastor, a bishop, a brethren, which is actually the highest honor to be called, and none of the other titles, brethren, that you must be absolutely cleanly first. That is something that you have to go to your God and ask for a very specific answer. Because in our young lives, in our innocence / ignorance, it is already known by the all-knowing that we will go through times where we will be dirty, that we will soil, that we will scathe, that we will scar, that we will scab. And that is what makes the journey, that path, thin, that striving towards cleanliness. Because that cleanliness is also due to age. Cleanliness is next to godliness, but age is also. Make no mistake. I am certain that in my 60s or 70s or 80s, I will spend a whole lot more time praying. I will spend more time efficiently counting those blessings because of the envelope that I am providing for my older self to send that love letter to my higher power. It is difficult, but it is not impossible. And it is that possibility that in the midst of the smoke and mirrors that is the illusion of abundance, the illusion of greatness that we see from the dirty people, that smoke and mirrors can be used to our advantage by means of saying there is no one thing that can tell me that I am impossible. That hope can prevail through discipline and becoming better people. If you have not noticed today, let me tell you, what you have witnessed is the sharpening of iron personified in these two beings today. These type of discussions, these entertaining debates of the superior selves, these things are important towards our growth as people. May all of the words that have been shared today in the collective consciousness of these experiences be honored until our free will to go about the path which leads us to being cleanly and godly people. And when we meet our older selves, before we meet our God, may he or she say, well done too. Let us share in a moment of silence for what has been collected today. Amen. I will open up the bill to Eli once again if there is anything else you'd like to add.
Thank you, brother. Also, let me go back a little bit what Mike was speaking on. I was saying that be careful of the opinion of your older self. Now, I was not specific on his particular opinion of his older self, but I was talking in specifically when it comes to being financially stable and secure as an older person. I am around a man who is 82 years old and he still sit in the aisles of Publix and I watch certain people. So your older self going to have expectations. So what I'm saying again is I don't know a person's journey because Brother Michael's father was a one who kept his clothes ironed and things of that nature. So that's the older version that he gonna have to experience. Possibly, we're not for sure. But what I'm saying is be careful of the opinion of your older self because that's the one that knows everything. And even if you look at your teenager, you can look at yourself now in your teenage years, and you do judge some decisions you did when you were younger as an older being. That's a fact. And it will continue on. So that's what I was stating, not specifically when it comes to Brother Michael's journey, because I am not the one to know these things. But I do know that you can be careful of the opinion, whatever it is, your older self. Just now, I mean, think about it. Look at the stuff like Brother Michael did some things when he was younger. And even he spoke about himself when he used to lift weights. He's speaking as an older person compared to when he was lifting weights and his mentality at that time. So that's a good example. That's something that I have not done, but that's the brother's journey. So that's what I mean by be careful of the opinion of your older self. Even look at Mike Tyson, how he talks about his younger self. Really don't like some of his behaviors when he was younger. So he judged his younger self and he's dealing with the consequences as an older person. Because when you get older, when that older wisdom come over your being and your person, it has expectations. It looks around to see if things are around what they're supposed to be. And if they're not around, your older self will not be happy. That is what I am talking about. I don't know the specifics just like somebody who parties on the weekend and have a test on Monday. They were younger that Friday compared to being on that their age and that time period on Monday when they sit in the classroom not knowing the answers. So that's what I mean. So I don't know specifics on each person's journey, but the opinion of your older self is real, and there is a different mind state, there's a different wisdom. It's like I'm seeing some women with gray hair I find attractive. It's, when I was younger, I didn't have that. Nah, you can't have no gray hair. You see what I'm saying? So this older person, I'm awakening to is I didn't know I was attracted to women with gray hair because I wasn't when I was younger. But now I got the same body. I look in the mirror, it's me, but there's a different consciousness in there that says, oh, she got gray hair. She still look attractive. So again, that's what I meant by be careful of the opinion of this older self. I don't know the specifics, but as your own lifetime, you can look at when you was a teenager and the decisions you made and you're older, you know. So if I have said anything that was offensive, these are only words. So please don't be offended over words. You can be offended over words, but I don't want to feel the energy. Because you become, when you're clean and you live a certain clean life, you become very sensitive. When you fast a lot, your vibration do expand compared to just like eating a heavy hamburger, eating a heavy meal compared to eating a light meal. You feel different. There's a difference between the two. So we're not judging people, of course, who want to live what the world considered filth, because even when you're doing wudu as a Muslim, you can wash yourself with sand. You have dirt bath, mud bath that can clean the skin. We know that. So again, it's not about that, but it's, you don't see the people who do mud baths crying at night talking about no, because they don't have the bacteria and the diseases compared to those who just live in dirt and that type of stuff. They don't have the maggots. So there are different realities with the same reality. It's both dirt, but the one go to a spa is not the same dirt because the dirt can have a needle, it can have urine, it can have feces, it can have all types of stuff in it sitting there with it that have a personality. They have to live according to their personality. So you have all the diseases in the dirt. When you put it on the body, you can have different effects of it. So that's all. So even do your prayer in the sand. Get ready to do wudu, the bathing in the sand, because you're not near water, or you can do it in the water. The choice is yours. And yes, I want to be so clean that God, like the burning bush, Moses, take off your shoes because the land you're on is holy. So God of the Bible do not accept nasty people. You can't even touch the temple. Where God goes, you're not allowed. Matter of fact, I put up what the Jewish women do. They're bathing. Even in the Jewish practice, they have to have a place where women and people can bathe even before they build a temple for God. I just discovered that. That is powerful, especially for women. It is more important to have this place for a woman in her menstrual cycle and to cleanse herself and pray in a not just a old nasty place. It have to be immaculate, physically and environmentally. When they walk in, it is beautiful. And the water is a current. That is powerful. And that's why these people rule and we don't. Because they got a particular way of life that is consistent. So I'm telling you, to end this cleanness conversation, women, according to what the Jews do, they have to put money together to have the most immaculate place for a woman to do her monthly bathe to get to the point that she can go sleep with her husband or even pray to God to let you know the importance of cleanliness from our perspective. And all the temples always had a water stream in it. Then all the animals like to go bathe in the water. Even the universe is made of particles of water. But yeah, that's the final note. Whoo! That they have to put money together. And it taught me something about women what I did not know, which women deny. And so I don't want to hear it no more from them. They can just shut up. When it comes to a woman, this is what I discovered. They have to be in a place which is physically appealing, spiritually, emotionally, physically clean, and stable. That is a foundation for all women. So we don't want to hear no more work hard and all that be like a man crap. Y'all are not designed and y'all falling apart. So I don't got time to hear that. Take it to the trash where you belong. So I'm telling you to your face, men and young boys, when it comes to women, before you fall in love and get to that circle, make sure you have something that they can walk into on their own terms, what they find physically eloquent, extremely clean, comforting, and extremely stable. That is their foundation. So when they come on talking about we want to ride and die, no, that's momentarily because they go into a sane asylum and because they're crazy. Even Benjamin Carson's mother and Malcolm X's mother went to a sane asylum to go rest. So they may talk that game. So put it to the side. So make sure, and I'm speaking to myself since I discovered you spend most of your money that you earn to provide a place for women, which is physically immaculate. Like the dude made that temple for his wife. I can't remember the Indian guy, the Taj Mahal or something. And then it's clean and it's a place that they can go to be with themselves in prayer or meditation and stuff like that. So, peace in paradise, peace. And again, don't be offended by these nothing but words. All right. Peace.
Let us begin our benediction. This iron sharpening iron is again very, very, very important. And it is my hope that whoever witnesses what has happened here tonight, that they take it upon themselves to have that debate, have that conversation, have that exchange in their own spirit, and allow that to be one of those other bricks that they build within their foundation. That is my hope. But whether or not they choose that hope, I am but a candle, and the candle cannot complain against the darkness and the harshness. It instead emits itself, then admits to itself that it is everything that it needs. It is
The
the
light.
light, and we are that
The light.
light. To prove that we are that light as a burning bush, we show this in solidarity, that we do not blow out the candle away from us. We take the light inside of us. And again, to show and prove, let us take it in. And show to all that have witnessed what has happened tonight that we are not harmed. Peace and many blessings to all who are in the vibration here tonight. Peace and blessings.